Grand Rising family, it's Shay Seeking. Welcome back to American Aborigines Unchained on YouTube or Facebook. And I just wanted to switch things up a little bit and try to take on some of these memes and stuff. Hopefully, in a 10-minute um, little micro something mini series or something to put on my Instagram, which is Shay_seeking on Instagram. And yeah, so let's go ahead and talk about it. So, I figured that, a lot of people think, oh, memes, what can a meme teach you? What about, you know, it depends on what kind of mindset you're in, right? And how you're looking at it and what tools or gifts you're using in order to interpret what you see when we're looking at these. A lot of people didn't come up with these memes, create them, and put them out there because the picture is pretty. You're supposed to take your time, you know what I'm saying? Because this is the age of information and we're on these platforms like this. So you can't take all of your knowledge, you know what I'm saying, and spill it into one thing about a matter. What a lot of us are doing is trying to just provoke thought in ourselves, right? First, and then others. You know, everybody's going to have their opinion, but again, just because we don't agree with someone on their opinion doesn't mean that you won't see something or learn something, along the way, because we should be taking in new information every day. See, now that we know that entertainment, a lot of us look at the entertainment industry as a joke and see it for what it is a distraction, along with a lot of other things that are going on in this age or these days, that are just distractions. And some of these things may be happening, and some, again, we know, those of us that look deeper into these things know that a lot of these things don't make sense, and it makes them some form of psyop. Rather somebody died or not or whatever, they would be taken. What I mean by that is something that is taken and taken out of context, or something that is taken and turned into something that they can use against you, or use to manipulate you into asking for things that you don't understand once they give it to you, that it's not going to be what you really wanted. So again, nothing I do is I do everything on a non-bias, in a non-bias, unbiased mindset, and I don't ever go off feelings. If I feel myself, because I know which one is which when I'm seeing something, and I'm going to go in on it. I see sometimes when I might be in my feelings and I don't go right off the handle and talk about it. I have to let that sit in, analyze it, bring it in one ear, out the other, take it back in that motherfucking ear and take it to the other side again. So again, something like this meme right here, until I ground myself or catch my footing, and then go in on the matter. Okay? So when we're looking at something like this, which one of my soul siblings shared, and again, I don't know about all that tagging stuff and everything, so that's why a lot of times when I post one of these memes or one of these some information, and I put someone's, I hope they don't mind. I leave their information there so that you can then see that, yes, I took this from someone, and that you can go and find it and find more information from that person. So it doesn't mean that I agree with everything that anybody puts. I'm just saying for this particular thing, this invoked some kind of something for me to speak on it. Okay. So again, here we go. What this is symbolizing to me, because I'm all about imagery and words, right? And using my spiritual gifts, to discern. Okay. So when we're looking at this, we're seeing the Black Lives Matter. There's a multitude of people here that are pulling down this here statue. It says racism underneath, and then there's roots, right? So the whole thing is, I know a lot of people are like, oh, tear it down, take this down. But me, because I don't know if you can even call it an historian, because that's not what it is. You know what I'm saying? But I value all things. Okay? All lives, right? I value all lives because I think no, now that we're all here and we don't know exactly how everything was formed, we can only get bits and pieces and try to put it back together, but we'll never know the whole thing. So this is why I like to share all sides of it. Even if it's something that I don't agree with, I try to explain best I can, but a lot of people don't like to read the information. They just look at the meme and go from there. So when I'm looking at something, I'm seeing it, I'm sharing with you to see what side you pick up, but I'm seeing it on many different levels, right? So again, when it comes to tearing down these things, okay, that's one thing. So they've incited us to anger or stirred us to anger, that it seems like this anger or these feelings are not being subdued, right? Okay. And so you want to tear down these monuments, right? First of all, we don't know the whole full story. We know that they create the narrative and they give us the information that they want us to believe about something. And if a lot of times they want us to dislike or it be something that's disagreeable or something that went against you, when you dig a little bit deeper, you might see that there's something deeply rooted there that actually is some information that you would need to know, whether it is positive or negative, whether it is helpful or harmful, meaning whether it helps you see something or it how can I explain it, or it helps you see something that you didn't want to see or realize, right? Because you're going with your narrative and you want to stick with that narrative, so you want everything to apply to that narrative. Well, I don't see it like that. I like to look at both sides of the spectrum. Okay, so when we're tearing down these monuments and everything, which when you are looking at it at the surface, you think you see what it is. But once you know about symbolism and the way that these people operate, it can tell you a lot of the story. Okay? So we're ripping down these monuments that just stand there. They're just monuments. They're just stone or metals or whatever, whatever. It is telling a story. It's just some of us know the deeper aspect of the story and some of us don't. But when we're removing these things, if this is the final generation, us, I don't know if they want to say Generation X, the what do you call them? The millennium or millennials or whatever. Or if you want to just call it those that still have some kind of grasp on, you know what I'm saying, how things were, from the 80s, and down into the 50s, 60s, whatever. So when you're taking these things down, we're taking down the monument. But what's to say when we are not here anymore? A lot of our children don't know anything about any of this stuff because we've all been deceived and manipulated and indoctrinated and hypnotized, okay, in school and in church. Okay, so now we're coming to truth. Now they want to tear shit down. It's been sitting there all this time, but now that we're coming into truth, they want to tear it down. Why? Why would you want to do that? Or why would you want to incite me to anger so that I feel good about you tearing it down? So then when you look back and they tearing the shit down and you want to complain about it later because your children don't know what happened in the past so that they can know what to do and how to prepare for the future, right? They'll be able to blame you. They'll be able to point the finger at you. When all this shit is burned down and everything, they're going to come around. They got you mad. You threw a fit. You went out there, marched, stomped, burned. Other people were there too. Again, it's not just our people. Again, because you don't understand that there's many levels to this, and that you cannot trust anything that comes from your mass media or any type of entertainer or celebrity. Some things they say are true, but you have to be able to discern that, grab that, and drain the rest. Right? So again, just because it's a celebrity and I don't agree with the industry and I see something deeper in the industry doesn't mean that one of these people can't say something that might inspire me to share it with you. Doesn't mean that they didn't sing a song that might be, even now that I'm listening to it with a different mindset, invoking thought, and then I want to share it with you. See, because I don't hate anybody. We need to know all sides of the story. Okay, so while we're pulling these things down, what will our children be able to look at in the future to know what happened? They're already kind of slowly erasing so-called history. They're already remolding and redesigning, you know what I'm saying, all kind of things in the education system, or indoctrination stations is what I call them. So we need to be careful what we ask for and what we agree with, right? Because they're preparing, think of it as a how people talk about the mud flood or what what do they call it? A restart or a something that's about to go on. So again, what they do is tear down and lessen the information of the past, or water it down in order to fool the children that are coming up at this point in time. Because the parents will leave this earth with the information and your children will still be here. Right? And not know who they are, what they're supposed to do, where they come from, how to go and find this information. Because again, if we're burning down places that have records and information in them, even though they have them hidden from us right now, then they put everything online, then someone can control that at some point in time, right? If you don't have books and things like this. See? So I'm just saying that we should be careful because, again, you don't see that you're being led to do these things by people that want you to do them. They want their hands clean. So they incite you or mind control you or program you into doing or wanting these type of things, not knowing that it is going to be harmful for your children in the future. So even though we pull these things down and we scream hooray, the roots are still there. The roots are still there. And once that little area is cleared and they put something else on top of it, people will walk by and won't question anything. Nobody will say, "What's that, Mom? What does that mean? What did this guy say?" And I think I heard somebody say it best the other day. Why not, instead of tearing it down, place something, since somebody's going to say, I'm Boule, or I'm a Uncle Tom, or, something like this for saying this. But again, if you're using logic and reason and discernment, something is not right about this. And you know it. But if you're going on emotion and fear and anger, then yeah, you're going to say those things about me. Okay? But these things are there to invoke thought. They don't really harm anybody. They're just sitting there. I don't give a fuck about the statue. You know what I'm saying? But if I'm seeing one of these statues, I'm standing there for a minute. I'm going to look at it and I'm going to, go ahead and think a little deeper and see if I see something symbolic or something written on that monument that might give me a key or a clue to something else that I'm searching for. So why not just put up the good and the bad on the statue so people can compare and think what they want to think about the statue or the person. So I'm just saying, are we sure that this is what we should be doing? Because in a minute, the very thing that could be deleted from any type of existence is you. The so-called black man or origines. They've already done it to you previously. So again, we're supposedly just a small group, racial group, a so-called racial group, in the world at this time. Who knows? They might wipe us out of existence. You see? And no one will think about you again. Because all of the statues that had something to do with you in that era are gone. Your children might look at you like, what is wrong with us? It's something wrong with us and I don't like us. And I want to go with these people, or I want to marry this type of person because, something, I don't like the way this is. And they won't have a reason for knowing why they're treated differently. They won't have any proof or anything left behind to observe why this is. And they'll be okay with you being eliminated because you are the problem at some point in time. That's just the way it's going to be. So again, I just say, do what you want. I'm not here to tell you what it is or what it ain't. I'm just simply sharing what it looks like to me. But is this the best thing for us to be worrying about right now? There's more. And another thing is there's other things that we can really be doing right now. And I'm saying doing because these people are actually out there being physical with this. There's other shit that you need to be doing at this point in time, like learning how to be self-sustainable, growing gardens, teaching your children how to cultivate the earth or the ground or the soil. You know what I'm saying? Not in the manner where I just did my video on, but teaching them how to live without being in the system, because the system may not be there even tomorrow. Right? And there's going to be some hard times. Again, nothing will be going back to normal after all this shit that's occurring right now. Just know that. Just know that. See? Just know that. And there's another scripture that I was thinking of, and I don't know exactly how to say it, but I think you guys will know, that fear of the Lord is the beginning to understanding or something like that. And that's the thing. If we didn't have this Bible, or if we didn't have this stuff to look into, us that can see a little bit deeper and see beyond our emotions, this would not, none of this stuff that's being triggered or being activated in us, or us remembering. See, you have gifts that you have not been told about. Even the brain has been studied to a certain extent, but there's a large portion of what the brain can do that either they know it can do and they're just not sharing it with us, or they'll say, oh, we haven't done that part yet. We haven't studied that, or there's some things that's unexplainable with this portion. But they might know good and damn well what it is. They just don't want to share with you, because then you'll be able to use those tools in order to defeat these people. Because it's all in here. It's all in the mind. They had to get there first before they gave you any books or any information, any language, anything. They had to get you there first because, again, there was a communication barrier there, supposedly, right? So you couldn't read the language in their books. You couldn't even understand what they were saying at some point in time, right? Supposedly. So again, they had to use imagery. They had to use different things in order to inspire or invoke thought, or in order to plant something in the minds prior to you then later on being able to interpret or read or have their same information. And now that we've excelled that by asking questions and doing our own due diligence and doing research, now all of a sudden everything is being taken. They want to hurry up and take things down, and they want to do all this. So again, these people don't do anything for no reason. There's always some reason. And then I got to sit there and let you take down these monuments and not do anything about it if they didn't want you to take them down. See? So I want to thank you guys for listening. And I'm going to, this is going to take a little bit of time because I'm normally guided or inspired by things along the way as I'm talking to you guys. But hopefully, I get a little bit better at, speaking in this manner. Because again, a lot of people see me put stuff and they think that, I'm not aware of certain things, but no, I'm putting it there because I'm invoking thought in those who are stone cold asleep, possibly, all the way to those who are even more awake than I am. See, when we share information like that, everybody's getting something. Everybody's getting some, and that's why I speak on so many different levels, on so many different aspects at the same time. Okay. So again, 1 second. So again, I want to thank you guys for listening. And yeah, just think about that. Yeah. So I want to thank you guys for listening and take care.